I do want to do a BMF film because you've been entertained by a lackluster, small budget series. Now it's time to do a big budget film. Which director? Shout out to my homie, F. Gary Gray. Nigga took a picture with Rick Ross. You like, put your back against the wall and just slide down. You already know, car show going down June 7th. Get online right now, get your tickets right now, but for the hustlers.
Looks like 50 Cent just had enough of Rick Ross games, and this time he's not holding back. Things just got heated after 50 obliterated Rose online for allegedly trying to steal from him again. The tension between these two has been boiling for years, but this latest move might be the wildest one yet. So here's how it all went down. Rick Ross recently announced a flashy collaboration with Big Meech for a Welcome Home concert, and that's when 50 Cent lost it. He immediately went on a posting spree, calling Big Meech a rat and dropping the bomb that the Black Mafia Family series won't be returning for another season. That news alone had fans shocked, but things took a nastier turn when Rick Ross started firing shots right back. Rose couldn't resist throwing shade. He even bragged that he already had a brand new BMF movie lined up, acting like he was about to take over the whole story. But 50 wasn't having any of that nonsense. He quickly clapped back, flipping the whole situation by reminding Rick Ross that he can't move forward with any BMF project without checking in with him first. Because 50 owns the rights. That's a power move right there. Total chess, not checkers. Now, fans are losing it online. Everyone's asking the same question. Is Rick Ross really trying to pull one over on 50? Has this been part of a bigger plan all along? Or is Rose just bluffing to stir up attention for himself? The back and forth between 50 Cent and Rick Ross has gotten way too real.
You and Ross, it's just been going on for so long.
Nothing else works for him, outside of mentioning me. When things get bad, you mention me, it gets covered further. I get covered across the board. They get covered on the hip hop level. It is what it is.
And it's not just because their feud drags in so many other names, but because these two have been sworn enemies since the very start. Every time you think they moved on, something new explodes. But things reached a whole new level recently when Rick Ross teamed up with none other than former drug kingpin Big Meech for a major concert announcement. And that move set the whole internet on fire. Rick Ross proudly revealed that he and Big Meech would be joining forces for a February concert, a Welcome Home event, meant to celebrate Meech's return after years behind bars. Now, for those who don't know, Big Meech, real name Demetrius Flannery, was one of the most powerful and feared figures in the game. He co-founded the notorious Black Mafia family, one of the largest drug trafficking and money laundering empires the U.S. had ever seen. Back in the late 1980s, Big Meech and his brother Terry Southwest T. Flannery started building their operation right out of Southwest Detroit. These guys weren't just street hustlers.
Gatling. I'm making this recording in regards to my dad. He's Dion Gatling. Most people know him as Cuffy. But I wanted to make this recording so I can shed light on some facts. My dad was set up by one of his best friends, which is Demetrius Flannery, also known as Big Meech. My dad and Meech have been friends for 30 years plus. I've known Meech my whole life. I look at him like an uncle. Like, this situation has been completely devastating on so many different levels, and there's still so many questions that aren't answered. At this point, I can only shed light on what I know for sure to be facts, and hopefully one day I will have the complete truth. But in 2011, around that time,
they were masterminds. They built an empire that ran like a corporation, complete with structure, hierarchy, and absolute loyalty. You crossed them, you paid the price. The Black Mafia family didn't just make money, they moved money. Their reach stretched across multiple states, from Detroit to Atlanta, turning their crew into one of the most dominant forces the streets had ever seen. Rivals couldn't touch them, and even the feds struggled for years to bring them down. But everything flipped upside down in 2003 when the DEA and FBI decided they'd had enough and teamed up for a massive sting operation called Operation Motor City Mafia. This move changed everything. It was a full-scale takedown targeting the Black Mafia family, and the feds came locked and loaded. The operation led to the arrest of several key members of BMF, shaking the empire from the inside out. Among those caught up in the sweep were Raphael Smurf Allison, Jabari Hayes, Darcarlo Hoskins, and the infamous brothers Omari McCree and Jeffrey Lear. Once they were taken in, things got messy fast. Some were slammed with major drug trafficking charges, while others flipped and started working with the feds, turning into informants to save themselves. That betrayal hit the organization hard. By 2005, what was once a powerful and tight-knit empire had fallen apart completely. The BMF operation had so many leaks that, as some said, you could use it to drain pasta. The feds didn't waste a second. They launched a massive search and seizure mission, raiding safe houses and stashes across multiple cities. The results were wild. Millions in assets, piles of drugs, unregistered firearms, and stacks of cash were all confiscated in one of the biggest busts of the decade. The investigation also led to the downfall of the empire's biggest names, including Big Meech himself and his brother Terry Southwest T. Flannery. Both brothers were hit with heavy federal charges: conspiracy to distribute over 5 kilograms of cocaine, possession with intent to distribute more than 500 grams, conspiracy to launder money, and multiple counts of large-scale distribution. The list just kept growing and the evidence was undeniable.
Meech reached out to my dad in regards to creating a BMF movie. So Meech hooked my dad up with a woman named Tammy Cowan. At the time, Tammy was Meech's power of attorney. Also, she owned the life rights. So my dad was working with Meech, Tammy, T, basically trying to work on a movie. Finally arrested my dad and we received the discovery. He knew exactly who CS1 was, and he told me and my mom that it was Tammy Cowan. At that time, we really did not want to believe. We wanted to give Meech the benefit of the doubt. It was really, really hard to believe that Meech would set my dad up. It was almost unbelievable. So we were able to reach out, get a message to Meech, and basically let him know that Tammy was an informant. We later received a message from him saying that it had to be a misunderstanding. Just call her, she'll straighten this out, so on, so on. And at this time, my dad was like, I'm not dumb. I'm not about to call an informant.
Cuffy himself had a lot to say about it in a leaked jail phone call, where he broke down how Meech lined him up for the feds.
How did Meech have information on you and give it to Tammy so you could get caught up in it? How did that happen? So that means you got to go back to the movies.
Okay, so, well, let me take them back. So,
the case dragged on for years, stretching all the way to 2008. And by the time the verdict came down, the once untouchable Black Mafia family had been completely dismantled. When Big Meech finally got hit with that 30-year prison sentence, everyone thought that was it, the end of an era. But then things took a shocking twist that no one saw coming. In October of last year, word started spreading that Big Meech was getting released early. The announcement said he'd spend a few months in a rehabilitation program before officially walking free by August this year, and fans couldn't believe it. But hold up, here's where things start looking real shady. See, Big Meech was sentenced to 3 decades behind bars, and even counting all his time served, he still had a few solid years left before his release date. So, how did he suddenly get out early? That's when people started whispering about something deeper, rumors that Meech might have cut a deal with the feds to earn his freedom. And let's be honest, that kind of talk spreads fast in the streets. Even before 50 Cent called him out publicly, there were already quiet rumors floating around that Big Meech had turned into a federal informant. Folks started connecting dots, and some of those dots led straight to his so-called friend, Tammy Cowan. Now, Tammy wasn't just anybody, she was a known federal informant. According to multiple reports, she was allegedly the one who helped Meech negotiate a behind-the-scenes deal with the government that magically shortened his sentence. But here's the catch. Nobody gets out early without giving the feds something big in return. That's just how it works. So the talk is, Meech might have had to hand over someone close to him, another major player, to secure his freedom. And rumor has it that unlucky person was actually one of his own friends. A Detroit legend and fellow drug kingpin, Dion Gatling, better known on the streets as Cuffy, had deep ties with Big Meech long before things went south. These two weren't just business partners, they were tight. For years, Cuffy and Big Meech moved in the same powerful circles, running major operations together and building trust that seemed unbreakable.
Suarez or whatever, right?
Right.
But after he's found out, because everybody knows she's an informant now, they're still doing the show with her. They're still dealing with her. She was still on the red carpet for BMF with Lil Meech and all them. Don't you feel like that's dishonorable, bro? Like to still be dealing with her knowing that she got your man banged for 30 years?
Yeah, it's definitely, if it happened like that, it's definitely dishonorable, but you have to look at something else. Like if she owned everything, if she owned the rights to that, like you're not getting her off the red carpet. Like you understand that too? That's her. So
yeah, but you still got the option to not do business with her though, bro.
But when Meech got taken down and locked up, that brotherhood shattered in the most unexpected way. According to Cuffy's daughter, Tamara Gatling, her entire family was blindsided when they discovered the shocking truth. Big Meech himself had allegedly been the one who set Cuffy up. Imagine finding out someone your family considered a close ally, even a brother, might have been the reason your loved one went down. That revelation hit hard and sent shockwaves through everyone who ever respected Meech's name. So how did they find out? Tamara claims the family managed to dig into some official law enforcement files, and what they uncovered was explosive. The records revealed the identity of one of the confidential informants who had been working with the feds during the case. And guess what? It turned out to be Tammy Cowan, Big Meech's so-called best friend. That discovery connected every rumor that had been floating around. Tammy helping Meech negotiate a deal, the suspicious timing of his release, and now the betrayal of a man he once called family. Cuffy didn't stay silent after that bombshell, not at all. In a leaked jail phone call, he laid it all out, breaking down exactly how Big Meech allegedly lined him up for the feds. His voice was filled with anger and disbelief as he explained how someone he once trusted like a brother could flip on him so coldly. That call spread fast online, and once people heard it, the streets lit up with gossip and fury. Everyone wanted to know, did Meech really sell out his own man? Now, let's be real. Doing 30 years behind bars is something most people couldn't handle. That kind of time breaks you down mentally, physically, and spiritually. So if we're being honest, it's easy to see why someone might do whatever it takes to get out, even if it means wearing the stain of being called a snitch forever. Still, for a man like Big Meech, whose empire was built on loyalty, that label hits different. But according to WAC 100, the situation goes even deeper. WAC claimed that Big Meech didn't just compromise by cutting deals. He went further by doing business with Tammy Cowan herself. Allegedly, Meech even sold his life rights to Tammy, giving her control over how his story gets told. That move raised serious eyebrows, especially among those who believe Meech's legacy should never be in the hands of someone tied to the feds. If that's true, it changes everything. The man once seen as a symbol of street honor might have traded his own narrative to secure his freedom. The reason all of this drama even matters is because it ties directly into the ongoing war between Rick Ross and 50 Cent. And now, Big Meech is right in the middle of it. Things got messy when 50 Cent decided to air it all out publicly, calling Big Meech a rat in front of the whole world. He even shared a photo with the caption, "I think I'm Big Meech 50 years, followed by another one that read, "The biggest mistake he ever made was not sustaining his relationship with Tammy Cowan." Her tell-all docu reveals the truth. That alone had fans spinning in disbelief. For anyone who doesn't know the backstory, 50 Cent's production company, G-Unit Films.
He just dropped the album, and it's the #1 album on the hip-hop chart, and he just dropped a book.
How many did it sell? Number one, come on.
I'm just saying.
What week was it?
I don't know the numbers.
Some weeks just 10
Would there ever be a point in time when you could put the Ross thing behind you?
Come on.
10 purchases make you #1?
Yes, depending on what week it is.
Damn.
So that doesn't mean nothing in the taste.
Is one of the main producers behind the Black Mafia Family series. The hit show inspired by the real-life story of Big Meech and his brother Terry, Southwest T. Flannery. The show became a cultural phenomenon, shining a light on the rise and fall of one of the most powerful street organizations ever. But here's the twist. The life rights to Big Meech's story are owned by Tammy Cowan, the same woman who's been rumored to have deep federal connections and who allegedly helped Meech secure his early release. Tammy isn't just a name on the paperwork either. She's also credited as co-producer of the BMF series. That means 50, Meech, and Tammy were all tied together through serious business dealings. So when Big Meech decided to switch lanes and publicly link up with Rick Ross, one of 50's oldest and fiercest rivals, it wasn't just another headline. It was a full-on betrayal in 50's eyes. Let's not forget one of the biggest reasons this feud between Rick Ross and 50 Cent has stayed alive for so long. Rick Ross's past as Officer Ricky. Yeah, before the fame, Ross actually worked as a correctional officer, and that revelation completely changed how people looked at him. 50 Cent has never let that go. He's been clowning Ross for years over it, calling him fake and untrustworthy. And in 50's eyes, that badge meant something way deeper. He's always believed Ross wasn't just a former officer, but still an informant working quietly behind the scenes. Back in a 2015 interview with Tim Westwood, 50 didn't even hold back. He flat out accused Ross of still being connected to the system, saying in his own words, "You tell it over it," making it clear he sees Ross as someone who talks to the wrong people when things get hot. That statement set social media on fire, and fans started looking at Rick Ross's whole image differently after that. But it doesn't stop there. 50 has been dragging Ross not only for his past, but also for his music. During a 2019 interview on Real 92.3 Los Angeles with Bootleg Kev and DJ Head, 50 Cent doubled down and went in hard again. He called Ross's music irrelevant and straight up said there's nothing about Ross's career that he respects. To 50, Rick Ross is a man with no credibility, someone pretending to live a life he only raps about. But don't think this beef has been one-sided. Rick Ross has thrown his fair share of smoke at 50 Cent over the years. Rose hasn't held back, shading 50 in his music, dropping subtle disses in lyrics, and going even harder in interviews with scathing remarks. He's made it clear that he doesn't take 50's claims lightly and isn't afraid to fight back with words. For example, in a 2020 interview on I Am Athlete with Channing Crowder and Fred Taylor, Rick Ross went all in, putting 50 Cent on blast. He didn't just talk, he questioned 50's musical talent, implying that his influence and skills were overrated, and even called him an old taker, a pointed jab at 50's reputation for trying to claim what he wants in the industry. Ross's words were sharp, calculated, and clearly meant to hit 50 where it hurts, proving that the rivalry is still very much alive. After 50 Cent called Big Meech a rat, Rick Ross didn't stay quiet. He hit back hard in a series of videos on his Instagram stories. Rose wasn't holding back, telling 50 Cent to get out of his feelings and focus on what really matters, making money. His message was clear. He's about business, not social media drama. But of course, 50 Cent isn't the type to just let that slide. 50 quickly clapped back, dropping a link to a TMZ article reminding everyone exactly who's boss. The article confirmed that 50 Cent is the sole owner of all the rights to the BMF franchise, meaning Rick Ross would have to get clearance from 50 before even thinking about making any BMF movie. TMZ pointed out that Rick Ross might need to rethink his big plans to bring a BMF film to theaters because getting the green light could be tricky. After all, he'd have to ask permission from his #1 competition. Sources familiar with the contracts told TMZ Hip Hop that 50 Cent owns both the TV and film rights to BMF, and nothing about that ownership is changing anytime soon. 50 Cent didn't stop there. He added a caption to the post taking direct shots at Rose, saying, "It's cool though, just say whatever you want." Fans are loving every second of this drama. The shade, the comebacks, and the power plays are all fueling one of hip-hop's most intense feuds in recent memory. But it begs the question, was Rick Ross way out of line, or is 50 Cent overplaying the whole situation? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos like this, because this story is far from over.